Tribute for an Emperor. When you move past the terms glamour and faggot, there is a third descriptor that is appropriate to use when discussing the legend that is Halston. This third word is one that Halston himself uses frequently in his commentaries and interviews, and that is freedom. In archival footage, Halston can be seen adjusting the drape of fabric on one of his models. He thoughtfully repositions her into a contrapposto pose during the fitting. The fabric slips away, sheer against skin, revealing a leg, a scapula, and then obscures them again. It was all designed to be moving and migrating across the body. Slinky, sexy, physically alluring through motion. This all resulted in a, quote, feeling of being naked with your clothes on, end quote. How marvelous. I would love to know what that would feel like. Halston freed the body from the rigidity of over-constructed couture. He freed American women from the dictates of European designers, and his zeitgeist aligned with that of the social and sexual freedom of the 1970s. At his best, and even during his most dissolute and debauched times, he was consistently extremely good. Halston was pure poetry in motion, and always, always true to his unique quintessence. Also, one thing that comes through clearly in both documentaries is that Halston was dearly loved by the people he was closest to. He was difficult, but he also could be protective, loving, and nurturing. He was also vulnerable. His close friends were therefore deeply hurt at the end when he withdrew himself away from both them and his life in New York. His premature death came after spending his final 2 years living with his family in San Francisco, having entirely retreated from life on the East Coast. He had nothing at all to do with his eponymous brand at that time, yet was still receiving fat checks from the corporation every single month. He may have been sick with full-blown AIDS, infuriated with that self-same corporation and actively working to get his name back. But he was also simultaneously driving around in the pure California sunshine in his Rolls Royce along the Pacific Coast Highway, all the while making the calls he needed to make to try and orchestrate his resurrection. They never talked about that part of the deal in those awful, awful obituaries. For all the drama, until his last breath, Halston got paid. There is no doubt in my mind that if Halston had lived long enough to benefit from the advances in AIDS medications, there would have been a second act that would have been mind-blowing. In any case, he was anything but a broken man. Yes, he died hard, but his story should be retold as one of amazing achievements. There's also a marked repudiation of the notion of sensuality in the treatment of Halston's legacy, a state of being which is held suspect in our moralizing, deeply conservative, post-AIDS times. It is a fundamentally puritanical, admonitory, and also very boring attitude. Everything Halston was definitely not. What the posthumous narrative boils down to is an embarrassed apologia as to how could a culture have been that unapologetically sybaritic. How could we have given ourselves up so wholeheartedly to something so simple and satisfying? The sweetest taboo, pleasure. Ultimately, it is unjust to judge a 30-year career, one that was for the most part punctuated only with unprecedented successes and innovation, solely by the inarguably disappointing final 5 years, however ghastly the latter may have appeared at times. When you look at the work, the entire Halston oeuvre, it is clear he deserves a better eulogy. During a promo video for JCPenney in 1983, When asked how he wished to be remembered in fashion history, Halston replied with, quote, "Maybe we cleaned it up a bit. I have a theory that less becomes more." End quote. This is unfortunately not how he is remembered. Yet no one designed understated wearable American elegance better than Halston. To feel freed and so lightly attired as to approach the sensation of nakedness while moving your body on the dance floor. How divine. To feel simultaneously comfortable, sensual, and supremely stylish? What could be more luxurious than that? This is a reading from my book, Lilac Time at the Rodeo, Stories of Identity, AIDS, and Fashion. My name is Dr. Mark Joseph O'Connell.